All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. Maybe I should get my mic just a little bit closer. Nope, that's not it. This is it. There we go. Sorry for all the mic noise. What's up, people? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you hanging out and coming on through. Sorry about the late start. I'm really moving very slow today. And I'm trying to drink as much coffee as possible in order to compensate for the moving very slow. But that's okay. Got some people here. Got some things we're looking at. Let's start off with this. Salt Laker sent me this earlier. And this is pretty gangster. I really hey, too much noise right now. I really like how this guy did this with the proverbial shit-eating grin on his face the whole time.
Can you not record? Why? What's not? You don't have an active membership, so we got to ask you to leave.
I don't have an I just paid for my membership. What are you talking
about? No, somebody from corporate. Can you not put that in my face? Well, the cops are on their way. So what's the issue? You don't have an active membership.
I paid for my membership. I've been here for 3 years.
Membership's not active.
What's the issue?
Can you not record me?
You tell me, what's the issue?
Can you not record me?
What's the issue?
I already told you what the issue was. Your membership's not active.
He's wearing a shirt that says Israel kills.
Clarify for me. I'm not sure.
Did you scan into the club?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your team let me in.
No. What I'm telling you is that your membership is not active. So you call the police because you're trespassing. You're in the club because the membership's not active.
Is the problem the shirt? Or is it the skin color?
You just don't have an active membership. So right now you're trespassing because you're in the club without an active membership.
You know where there's no more gyms left? In Palestine. So you guys bombed them all. So I thought, maybe I come here and get a good workout in, I've been a member here for 3 years. Payment goes through every month. Are you offended by the shirt or by the fact that you guys kill all of the Palestinians in the gyms over there?
Your membership isn't active. We got to ask you to leave.
Is the problem the shirt?
Your membership's not active. We got to ask you to leave at this point.
All right. I'm going to have you hang out here while I do my workout. Hey, officers, that was quick.
You want to sit down for me?
Sure. All right. How you guys doing?
Good. So what's going on today, Ryan?
So there's a Holocaust in Palestine. Israel has killed 300,000.
I'm not talking about that. I'm asking what happened with staff today. Did they ask you to leave?
So one person checked me in. Another lady told me you have to take off that shirt. And I said, well, I don't really think I have to take off the shirt. So I came up here, and the manager said, either you leave, or we're going to call the police. And I said, you're angry about that, but there's no more gyms left in Palestine. You guys bombed all of them.
Okay, but they asked you to leave, correct?
Yeah, he told me he's going to call the police.
All right. Did they talk to you before about this?
No, they've always said that, like, oh, that shirt is offensive, or, it's typical Gilbert white supremacy stuff,
Okay. All right. So at this point, obviously, you're trespassing. You know that, right? All right. So you are going to be arrested for trespassing, okay?
Sounds good. So I put the phone down here?
Yeah.
Now you want to hit stop on that really quick?
Oh, hold on.
Okay. All right. Free Palestine.
That's how it's done, folks. There will be resistance to this. The new Nazi party known as Israel, the new Nazi state known as Israel, with a much farther reach than the original Nazis had, much more influence than the original Nazis had, and they don't need to roll over Poland and France and Belgium. to start conquering the world. They've rolled through the U.S. Congress. They've rolled through the European Union. They've rolled through the Canadian Parliament. They've rolled through a lot of countries already, apparently, because they control the policy of the countries without having to have the tanks and the infantry and the men, right? Denver says the new Nazis are the old Nazis. They just have a new disguise. Yep. And it makes you wonder. Were the Nazis really, what were the Nazis really about? And what are the Zionists really about? If they're about the same thing. Were they really about the homeland? Or were they about something else? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess it would be racist if it actually was racist. It's not racism. It's I'm speaking about an ideology. Nazis weren't about Germans being German. It was about an ideology. Zionist is not about being Israeli or Jew. It's about next thing you know, you'll be driving a German car. It's about an ideology, right? Anyways. If it walks like a Nazi, talks like a Nazi, must be a Nazi. Let's see. Never listen to anything from the Atlantic again. This is wild. The Atlantic, and we're going to talk about the Atlantic a little bit because the Atlantic is the publication that Trump staff accidentally leaked war plans to. But what's up with the Atlantic putting out an article called "The Great Fake Child Sex Trafficking Epidemic"? Oh, are you trying to tell people that they're conspiracy theorists? If we're talking about this, or if we're bringing attention to this? The Atlantic is owned by Laureen Powell, who was a friend of Ghislaine Maxwell. What? And then here's some other headlines they've run. In defense of naked Joe Biden. Joe Biden, the most influential vice president in history. It's totally normal that Joe Biden's son works for the Ukrainian energy company. Stay alive, Joe Biden. Run, Joe, run. Why Democrats need a Biden candidacy. WTF, leave Biden alone. Joe Biden's dating advice for girls. Biden gets China. Can the Times bare-chested Biden be explained? Biden tells third graders Obama is really cool. Joe Biden, crazy like a fox? Malcolm Young says the abused child has become the abuser and will probably do much worse. Are you talking about Zionists? Let's keep going. But that is a wild headline, isn't it? That the child trafficking epidemic is fake. I wonder who that headline serves. Moving on to the story about, well, related. Mike Waltz, national security advisor, leaked, supposedly, war plans on Signal to Jeffrey Goldberg, a former IDF prison guard turned editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. It's just, so coincidental. Wasn't somebody saying that the dean of Columbia, or is it, I don't know if it's a dean, but is an ex or is an Israeli spy? I mean, we were talking about that the other day. It wasn't somebody, it was me. But former IDF prison guard turned editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, which so happens to be a magazine owned by a close friend of Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's alleged number 2. Can anyone seriously argue that Mike Waltz should not be fired? This is Sagar and Jetty, both responsible for massive security leak. Well, let's see if we can see this. And accidentally reveals he's in regular comms with one of the most prolific neocon journalists in D.C. Chat also shows how JD's restraint was ignored by him. Anyways, more on this. Or one more on this. Yeah, that is a Jamaican name, Goldberg. By way of Ireland. More people should know that Atlantic's editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg dropped out of an Ivy League university to volunteer to be an IDF prison guard during the first Palestinian Intifada. In his memoirs, Goldberg revealed that he helped cover up serious prisoner abuse. Serious prisoner abuse. And James Lee called this, James was like, this is not an accident the other day. This is interesting and also expected. And also, this clinging to 1.5C is just so sad. Forecasts show that March 2025 will be about 1.6 C above pre-industrial Paris baseline March 2025. If monthly temperatures don't dive significantly below 1.5 C, do you expect that to happen? We're here. This is where we are, 2025. We are here. If they don't dive significantly below 1.5C in the months ahead, why? Why would they dive? What's the mechanism by which they would dive? Few should doubt that the Paris Agreement is dead and buried. Is it taking you this long to understand that it's dead and buried? You probably should have understood that 2 years ago. Excuse me. Let's look at these monthly temperatures. If you remember in 2023, the end of 2023, things went absolutely haywire. And we had 1.53, 1.51, 1.74, 1.7, 1.75, 1.79, back to 1.48. Looking at this graph, since mid 2023, we have only been under 1.5 one time, and that was 1.48, which we could just call 1.5. So in 2 years of temperatures, almost 2 years of temperatures, we have not gone below 1.5. Are we ready to just, why are we continuing with the, well, I hope they dive significantly below 1 point. Do you think that's going to happen? I don't know. So some of the climate folks just piss me off. I mean, they're kind of trying to tell the truth sometimes, and sometimes they're just like saying, I don't know where are they? Where do they live? Are they even scientists? Are they even scientific? It's like some science and some hopium and some weird, thoughts and prayers and propaganda. Dude, in the last 2 years, we have not dropped below 1.5. If you want to call 1.48 below 1.5, I'm sorry, I'm looking at it twice, 1.48 twice. But other than that, we have 2 months at 1.48, which we might as well just call 1.5. It's done. It's over. It is done. It is over. 1.5 is over. The guardrail is gone. It's never coming back. That's how it's going. We're not going to suddenly just reverse on climate change. If you look at the whole graph, you can see any child could see where it's going to get hotter. Any child can see it's going to get hotter. I don't know that you have to have a degree in anything. I don't know that you have to be a super specialized viewer of any information to understand it's going to get hotter. Based on that graph, it's just going to get hotter. The end. Like, how long do we get to before we get to 2 is the only question that anybody should be talking about. And then how long before we get to 3 is the only question people should be thinking about. If they're even around to think about that at that point. I don't know. I don't know. This is a bit of a longer article. I don't know if I really want to, I'm mostly showing this for the headlines. I'm going to just, I don't want to gloss too much, but we're glossing a little bit, so I'm sorry. Trump's mass deportation machine and the shadow prison in El Salvador. Yes, that is a thing that's happening. Bukele is fully on board with that. 238 Venezuelan men secretly deported by the Trump administration to El Salvador's most notorious prison. And that happened last week. A judge tried to order them to turn the plane to turn around. They said, ha ha ha, no, we're not going to do that. They're not. They weren't taken because they were criminals. They were taken because they were vulnerable asylum seekers, migrants, dissidents fleeing persecution, hoping for protection under American law. Instead, they were swept up under a statute from 1798, the Alien Enemies Act, a wartime relic once used by John Adams to jail immigrants. The Trump administration revived it and reinterpreted it to enable a deportation machine without trial, judge, or oversight. This wasn't a crackdown on MS-13. Most had no criminal record. Some were flagged only for tattoos. Like Jefferson Jose Laya Freitas, deported because of a lion on his forearm. It was assumed to be gang related. Or it was actually a tribute to his Christian faith. Arturo Suarez Trejo, a Venezuelan singer living in Houston, legally awaiting an asylum hearing. One morning, ICE agents came to his door. He's being transferred to finish processing, they told his daughter. He never came home. So family later identified him in a prison photo, head shaved, shackled, kneeling in a white uniform in El Salvador's mega prison. Jesus. And atrocity piles upon atrocity. The Greater Israel Project and the Greater Israeli America Project is in fact the same thing. Yes, Denver, yeah. All right. I'm going to come back to this one because we got a lot to cover. Most of it has to do with Israel and the new Holocaust going on there. Which is a little different from the old Holocaust, but it is a Holocaust. Suppressed news. I'm sharing this to make sure that you don't have an excuse of I didn't know. Quote, we're launching Operation 8th Candle of Hanukkah, the burning of the Shujaya neighborhood. This is what we'll do to our enemies, and not a memory will be left of them. From Al Jazeera.
The West cannot hide. They cannot claim ignorance. Nobody can say they didn't know.
Regarde, je vais montrer son dos, tu vas rigoler, regarde. Ils l'ont torturé, on va faire parler.
Lots of people say Israeli forces shouldn't be allowed to take cameras and phones into combat. I'm glad that they are allowed to, because it allows the world to witness what's happening.
The West cannot.
Ben Shapiro recently wrote an article saying, why does it actually matter who shot JFK? Well, it's funny because everybody's realizing it was Israel that shot JFK, or the Mossad, or Israel. Why is it okay that Israel killed JFK? Jimmy Dore says, when Israel owns you, they don't fuck around. That's why it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. He doesn't want it to matter, obviously. They don't want it to matter. American jobs, yeah. Don't vote to defund the military. That'll cost you. Well, think of all the jobs we'll lose. Just moving through a bunch of stories today. This is David Icke. Retweeting Champagne Joshi. This is Trump's new CDC director, nominee Susan Moneres on DARPA TV, discussing how AI will accelerate better health outcomes for all of us. They're definitely pushing, and so is Elon Musk, and so is everyone else. They're definitely pushing, still very much pushing RMNA, mRNA. And AI-driven healthcare. They are taking the piss, says David Icke. This is Trump's vaccine-obsessed nominee for head of the CDC. Get your COVID booster, pushing AI healthcare exactly in line with the AI control agenda. She has been the deputy director of ARPA-H, which is Health DARPA, on the deeply sinister DARPA, the technological development arm of the Pentagon, manipulating for total AI control. We'll watch this, not the whole thing, just a little bit.
We think about advancing AI for healthcare in a number of different facets. So some are direct to the patients. What tools and what capabilities can we develop to help them really understand where they are in their healthcare journey and empower them to make great decisions? We also think about AI from the provider side. So how can we help providers better understand their patients? How can we help providers optimize their time within the health system as they're seeing patients, as they're trying to make complex decisions to create the conditions for improved patient health outcomes? We also think about AI from the defensive side. So we understand that there is a great vulnerability within the health ecosystem. More and more is coming online in the Internet of Things that are going to have an incredibly positive effect, but we also know it creates vulnerabilities.
The Internet of Things.
And so we're using that same AI technology to help defend against those vulnerabilities, to anticipate the negative implications that are happening within the health systems, and to try to stay ahead of it. ARPA-H takes on the entirety of the health ecosystem. It's not just biomedical research. It's not just resilient systems. It's not just investing in the tech of the future. It is all of those. And what we do is...
This is really a commercial for ARPA-H. And this is the new CDC director nominee talking about how great ARPA-H is. Sweet. Denver, yeah, they're real quick, sent me a link. Gene says this time the Anglo-American establishment will not escape complicity. Don't know how you can. DNA-loaded lipid nanoparticles are poised to bring gene therapy to common chronic diseases. All right. DNA-loaded lipid nanoparticles. Have people been paying attention to the development of this and the danger of this technology, the dangers of it? Yeah. Yes, Internet of Bodies and Internet of Nano Things. Yep. You are going to be in the Internet of Things. Oh, man. Did anybody... That Wi-Files... I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing yesterday, but I might play it tomorrow. But they were talking about how ARPA-H, how HARP not only controls the ionosphere, can also control things, can also influence things going on underground, can also influence and or control people's brains. That is freaking wild. And if you link HARP stations together with Skynet or Starlink or whatever it's called, and you can actually basically control things through manipulating electronic pulses inside and outside. Man, scary stuff. Yeah. We talk about AI in healthcare. They mean using AI to reject claims. I mean, yeah, AI is just going to be. I don't know. I've seen some AI applications that seem to be very good at explaining things in a very truthful way, and other AI applications that seem to be programmed to just be a propaganda arm of the people running the show. No matter, wherever they put the N and the Z and the I in their ideology. The director of No Other Land, the Oscar-winning No Other Land documentary about Palestine, was recently kidnapped. Footage of Israeli settlers beating and lynching Hamdan Balal, director of the movie No Other Land, and American activists. Soldiers invaded the ambulance he called and took him. His whereabouts are unknown.
Hey, no! Can we go back to the car? Guys, back to the car! Back to the car! Back to the car! Get in the car! Get in the car! Oi, 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 oi. Get in! Go! Oh my god.
Seeing that he was released a few hours ago.
My window was broken. Whose car? I can't go. This is a military.
I'm just going to show this real quick. Released a day after he was attacked by settlers and detained by Israeli forces. Hamdan Balal and two other Palestinians left a police station in the West Bank settlement of Kiryat Arba, where they were being held on Tuesday. Balal had bruises on his face and blood on his clothes. The three had spent the night on the floor of a military base while suffering from serious injuries sustained in the attack. According to Balal's lawyer, Leah Semel. And his visibility, or his fame, if you will, might have saved him. Maybe not. Amazing that he made it out of there alive. How y'all doing? If you like the show, if you support the show, you enjoy the show coming to you for free 99 Monday through Friday, and you would like to see the show continue to come to you for free, consider supporting the show. There are lots of links in the description box. There's all the usual links and sites are there: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, etc. Patreon, and now Substack. You can support me on Substack. Remember, every Friday is a Substack only live stream, which happens at the same time as the stream does every other day, which is 12 p.m. Pacific. This is kind of wild. American shows there's toxic paint cleaner ingredient found in Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He heads to Home Depot, or Deport. He spelled it Deport, which is interesting, to show you the same ingredient. Here's where it gets crazy. It's so toxic to humans, it's been pulled from the shelf and has to be ordered online. It's still in cereal. Man, read your labels.
A toxic paint cleaner ingredient found in Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Come with me to Home Depot and check this Cinnamon Toast
Trisodium phosphate.
Crunch. Come with me to Home Depot and check this out. Here we are at Home Depot at the paint thinner and paint cleaner section, and you can see there is TSP, but it's TSP substitute. It's TSP phosphate free. I talked to them. They stopped carrying regular TSP trisodium phosphate because it's toxic to people that are using it. So what I did is I actually ordered it. It's online at Home Depot. So why did they pull it? It says right here, harmful if swallowed or inhaled. This is the same TSP that they're putting in your cereal. It's harmful if it's swallowed. Why? Because it's a trisodium phosphate salt, and when you eat it, it breaks up in your digestive system to sodium ions and phosphate. And phosphate is toxic to your body, leading to neurological and behavioral effects, kidney damage, and cardiovascular issues. It can even interfere with calcium absorption, leading to weaker bones and osteoporosis long-term. So for the love of God, if you see TSP on any food label, especially your kid's cereal, put it back on the shelf if you want to live a non-toxic lifestyle.
Okay. There's your public service announcement for the day. Dag says HARP isn't even real. It's just a conspiracy. No, it's actually real. I mean, it is if you believe what it can affect isn't what it's affecting, I guess, that part could not be real. But HARP is an actual thing that exists. I mean, you can just search it just Google it. HARP is an actual thing. And I would suggest watch the Y-Files episode on it. It provides a lot of information about how it works and the fact that it's based somewhat or maybe directly on Tesla, some of Tesla's findings, Nikola Tesla. But HARP is not a conspiracy. It is an actual functional, technical, it was a military experimentational endeavor, and then they transferred it to the University of Fairbanks, but it's a thing. It is a thing. Whether you believe HARP, affects the things that people say it affects, that's a different, that is a different line of questioning. But where are we at? Where are we? Oh, here we are. It's the 15-year anniversary of Obama saying we can get single payer if Dems win. Remember that? Single payer is on the table. It's definitely an option. Said they can get single payer if Dems win, then him disavowing that, killing the public option, and passing the Heritage Foundation plan that created 20% denial rates, $260,000 premiums, and 370 billion of insurance or insurer profits. I'm not going to read this article. That's the thing that happened. That's a real thing. That was a bait and switch. Pull the wool over your eyes. Yeah, sure. The conspiracy part is what they're using it for. Yes, John Glad. He was talking single player. Yeah, and the Obamacare was literally Romney Care, which is a right-wing plan. And this is how the Democrats just, slip stuff in there, do a little 3-card Monty. Where is it? Where's the ball? Where's the ball? You can't see where I'm hiding the ball. Can you see it? Can you see it? That's how they do the 3-card Monty. They make the thing that they're proposing super great, and all the Democrats are like, yeah, look what he's doing for it. Remember NAFTA and Bill Clinton? Yeah, Clinton passed NAFTA. Woo! And NAFTA was a right-wing trade partnership that people might have looked really long and hard at and thought about in a different way. But because Bill Clinton passed it, everybody was like, woo boy, look at him go. Because Obama passed Obamacare, woo boy, look at him go. Wow, that guy is really great. He's doing something for the people. And what he was doing was creating profits for the insurance companies, right? And giving you very little health care in return. Nah. Yeah, H stands for high frequency. That is right. That is correct, Bella. The AA is Aurora something. Let's look it up, shall we? Always forget when the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HARP. That Y-Files episode on it is pretty informative. I think it's worth watching, whether you don't think HARP is a thing or not. I mean, just taking the information, watch it for the sake of it's an interesting bit of information. It certainly isn't misinformation. He's giving you facts, and you can take in the facts and put them together any way that you want to put them together in your brain. That's what I try to do, but Obamacare was written by Big Pharma. Sure. It's not just measuring. They actually can create an aurora-like effect by putting a certain amount of energy into the ionosphere, can create an aurora-like effect. Like, it's active, high frequency active being an operative word in the title in the name, active, not passive, active, auroral research program. I don't know, just look into it, read up on it, get some information on it, and think what you want. All right, let's keep going. Bernie Sanders and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, are out there doing their damnedest to just scramble people's brains because, Democrats need more brain scrambling, I guess. I don't know. They're fighting oligarchy. Hold on. I got something for that. Hold on. I still got it. As Ralph Malph used to say. Yep. That's what, whenever you hear Bernie Sanders talk or AOC talk, dang it, if I have to ever see one more person repost or redo a AOC Instagram talk, oh my God, on my timeline, it'll be too soon. But just read about it in the funny papers or something like that. But yeah, they're fighting the oligarchy again. They're doing it again, and they did it so well last time that the oligarchy got stronger. They did it so well in 2 elections in a row that the oligarchy got bigger and badder and just more swaggering. And that oligarchy is just, looming everywhere. But man, but they're out there telling you that they're fighting it. And so get on the team. Come on, everybody. Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez are not fighting oligarchy. They are fighting to smother the growing anger of millions and return it safely to the graveyard of the Democratic Party. That is true and correct. Real talk. DB Cooper on Rockfin says single payer equals single source. Careful what you ask for or buy. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. But, man, I ain't scared. I ain't scared of that because the UK and Europe, they've had like free healthcare for a long time, and sure, there's problems with it. And I think anybody who lives in the US doesn't understand, but people who have been in both places could probably understand or see that American healthcare is, insanely overpriced for what you're getting and fraught with just the same amount of problems and waits and issues and all that kind of stuff. So there was a famous video going around a few years ago about people in the UK going like, you pay what to have a kid? You pay what for what diabetes medicine or insulin? You pay what for, like, this is insane. Man, I would take government run healthcare, and that's the whole point, is to, sure, yes, the government has issues doing things, of course, but you want to, the point of getting people to be suspicious or like, oh no, I don't want that, it's run by the government. I'm telling you, public, things run by the government for public good by the government, which, shouldn't have a profit motive, are going to be cheaper and more effective every single time, every day of the week, and twice on Sunday. Every single time. They just tell you that to get you to, hand it off to a private company who's going to do it so much better. And then they're just going to make it just 30 times worse than it ever was. And people will be like, oh man, that government, they're just really screwing things up. Okay. Well, alrighty then. Sure. Could the government do things better? Every day, all the time. But when you bring in corporate interests or you privatize things or you have corporations benefiting from the, from getting the contracts of doing certain things, noise. Oh. What are we doing? I'm almost done, guys, for today. I think. Maybe not. There's a good clip here from James Lee. And this really fits so nicely together with the cop cities and the bringing the whole, turning the population into domestic terrorists who need to be dealt with, prison, private prisons and cop cities, and cracking down on people who are, might have things that are anti-establishment, thoughts that are anti-establishment going on in their head. This all fits together. Why is the Pentagon giving away billions of dollars of combat equipment every year? And with almost zero oversight, in 2017, the GAO created a fake police department and successfully acquired $1.2 million of military-grade combat gear. Awesome.
This chart is wild. It shows an interesting trend, which is that after all the troops were pulled out of Iraq, the value of Pentagon property acquired by U.S. police went way up. I mean, look at this. End of the Iraq War, and then boom. I wonder what's going on. Well, it turns out the DoD has something called the 1033 program, which, quote, enables police to acquire excess military gear from the Pentagon for free. And we all love free shit. So what happened here is after the Iraq War ended, the military was left with a ton of surplus equipment, which is not a good thing if they want to justify new equipment being made. So instead, they just gave it all away to the police. So then this creates a perpetual cycle of the military creating new toys, playing around with it, and then donating all this high-tech gear to police once they're done with it. But the thing is, there's like no oversight to who can get this equipment. For example, in 2017, the Government Accountability Office created a fictional police department and was able to acquire $1.2 million worth of weapons from the Pentagon. Like, here's the actual application. You can yourself apply to get military-grade equipment if you want, which is insane. We've been talking a lot about government waste. So if we're on that train of thought, this would be a good place to look. But something tells me that they probably won't.
Yeah. Well, we are. Democracy Now! Is covering this as it happened. Yeah. Yeah. And it happened a long time ago, right? Yeah. This is an old story. It's being regenerated. But all those cop cities and all that military grade equipment sure adds up to a lot of firepower for our local constabulary. Oh, where are we at? Medea Benjamin was told they were being funded by the Chinese Communist Party, straight out of the McCarthy playbook. Senators and FBI Director Kash Patel discussed security threats. Code Pink activist, is it T-Gay or Ty Berry, spoke up in a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing to say Israel is the greatest threat to global security. Tom Cotton immediately responded by spewing lies, saying Code Pink is funded by the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah. Them commie pinko bastards. Code Pink's Ann Wright stood up to reject his lies. Both Ty and Ann were arrested.
they've committed against the American people.
Because the people
Thank you,
in
Mr.
Congress
Chairman.
are
Mr.
absolute
Vice.
Witness will suspend.
lunatic.
The greatest threat to global security is Israel, and the whole world knows it. Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel!
So that protester was a code pink lunatic saying the greatest threat to
No, sir. I think I just
world
called you
peace
a lunatic, which you are.
is funding
An absolute
Israel.
Psychopath.
I will observe, for the benefit of the audience here on television, that Code Pink is funded by communist China as well, which simply illustrates, speak up now if you want to be removed as well, whoever's saying that.
In the Senate Intelligence hearing right now, after Tulsi Gabbard spoke, Tigberry got up to say that Israel is the greatest threat to global security. As he was pulled out, Senator Tom Cotton, who is in charge of the hearing, said that that person was Code Pink, and he mentioned Israel because Code Pink is funded by the Chinese Communist Party. That is such slander. That is such lies. Of course, we get zero from the Communist Party. We don't even know anybody in the Chinese Communist Party. And we don't need any outside force to tell us that what the U.S. is doing in supporting Israel's genocide is horrific. And that's why he stood up. And that's why Ann Wright stood up and got arrested to say, stop slandering Code Pink and start looking at what Israel is doing. The genocide is something that we can't keep supporting enough.
And this who, I don't know who this woman is, the spokesperson for the Trump administration, but listen to this.
The Israelis have killed 2 more journalists, Hossam Shabbat of Al Jazeera Mubasher, Mohammed Mansour of Palestine. Today, that brings the number to 208. Each one was individually targeted. The IDF says they used extensive intelligence gathering and precise munitions. Shabbat killed in his car, Mansour in his house. The Committee to Protect Journalists has once again noted that the deliberate targeted killing of journalists is a war crime. Do you have any comment?
I would say that every single thing that's happening is a result of Hamas and its choices to drag that region down into a level of suffering that has been excruciating and has caused innumerable deaths. And of course, their reaction on October 7th, when there was a ceasefire and people were living in some relative peace, they decided to break that with an atrocity that was just certainly the most Jews killed in a single framework than during the Holocaust.
What?
And
that is clearly a lie. That's a straight up lie.
We also, I can tell you, we stand by Israel and its needs as it defends itself through this period of time, as we also work with them so that they don't need to defend themselves from the barbarity of an entity that has destroyed lives for generations and continues to. So for everyone who has, so many people who do so many jobs and who've lived different lives, and the children and the babies who didn't have a chance to seek their fortunes or their life dreams because of the barbarity of certain people who think that murder is the only way to move through life.
It's interesting that you just describe what you're doing. and this is classic projection, describing what you're doing exactly to these people, denying them, depriving them of the ability to live their lives and live on their land and seek their fortune or just live in peace. Interesting. And also against toddlers and mothers, Bella. Israel has a right to defend itself against toddlers and mothers and journalists because the atrocities. What the actual F? Anyways, let's see. This is a U.S. Treasury Department policy advisor. And you guys know that 23andMe is in bankruptcy or going bankrupt, and they're going to sell off people's. So if you have ever done the 23andMe or given your DNA to these people, there's a way to delete it. So go delete that right away, because they're selling your information to the highest bidder. By the way, pretty much any other internet site that you've ever used or are using is probably selling all of your data away as quickly as possible. So, I don't know, just operate with that in mind. This is Nate Johnson. He claims a hidden clause in their contract allows them to hand over user information to shareholders, all of whom are pharmaceutical companies owned by Russia and China. California's Attorney General has urged customers to delete their data as 23andMe filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
That's when 23andMe comes in, trying to figure out what all you are. I should do that.
You shouldn't do that, though. Do not give your information.
You shouldn't do that.
They sell it to other people.
Do they sell it to Russia?
They sell it to everybody. There's a clause in their contract that basically says, we can give your information to our shareholders so that they can do stuff. And all of their shareholders are pharmaceutical companies. But some of those pharmaceutical companies are companies based in other countries, and those pharmaceutical companies in other countries are the property of the Ministry of Defense of Russia, or owned by China.
All right. So just another public service announcement from Black Bear News. If you ever have used their services, go ahead and get over there and delete your profile, delete your stuff. Delete. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Don't know if I have anybody to thank today. I don't know. Or as of yet. Don't think so. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. And Globochem. I'll have to look that I used to love Mr. Show. I'll have to look that one up. I'm going to look that up right now. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy the day. See you all tomorrow.